I thought for just a few minutes we could look at Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. And these two verses give us a very specific message. Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. Because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few that find it. Now this is Jesus speaking. He's heading towards the end of the Sermon on the Mount. And I just want to take a look at this. It says, enter by the narrow gate. And why, narrow gate, and let's see, because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way. So the gate is narrow and there are few who find it. The reason there are few who find it is because there are few who will accept Jesus. He is that gate. He is that door, right? There's several verses where he says he is the gate, he is the door, he is the way. And so people are struggling to find Jesus in this world we have today. But we want to remember that he is the door, he is the gate, and he is the way for us. We also want to remember that narrow way is narrow, difficult, tight. It's hard to bring through all that old baggage that we have with us, right? Our old life, our old sins. Because it's narrow, it's compressed, it's difficult. We're not supposed to be dragging all that stuff with us, to be honest, but you get the idea. It's a narrow, difficult path following the Lord. It's not easy. And that's why, and it's hard to find, and then it's hard to follow that path. It's hard to go through that path. Whereas opposed to the other path, which is broad and wide, is very easy. It's very easy. It's just like, if you think about it in a way, it's just like life. Here, to find life is difficult, right? To find destruction is easy. And that's similar to just our everyday lives. It's harder to live life than it is just to die. You can just sit around and wait to die. You don't have to do anything, do you? And that's kind of a comparison there, too, of that. But to live a life, a good life, to follow Jesus is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. But the reward is going to be so worth it. To go through that narrow path, even though that's difficult and it's tight, and we may be uncomfortable at times. And we may have to leave a lot of things behind that we can't drag through there because it's narrow, it's compressed, it's restricted. But it's supposed to be. And it's supposed to help us as we go through that narrow path to learn to let go of those things, to let those things go and leave them behind because we don't need them. We're following the one we need, and that's the Lord. That's Jesus. That's who we need, and that's who we're following. We don't want to be distracted while we're on that path and fall off the other way. We want to stay in this path, even though it is hard and there'll be temptations at times to give up. We don't want to do that. The reward is so much worth it. The reward to be in heaven, to see Jesus, to see God, all of that will be so much worth all the difficulties we have here, whatever we go through here. That path is hard, it's difficult, it's not easy, I know, but the reward is well worth it. It will be beyond what we can imagine. That's why I don't even have the words for it. But I just want to remind us of that. I know at times life is difficult and we may struggle and have a lot of hard times or have hard times from off and on. But I just wanted to remind us that even though it is difficult and it's hard, we're on the right path. We're following. If we're following Jesus, we're following the right one. And we're on the right way. Sometimes that's why it's difficult too, because we are on the right way. If you're going the wrong way, you just have it made, right? It'd just be easy. That's the broad path. You just slide on down. No problem. So I just wanted to remind us of that. The reward is so worth it. To be in heaven, to see Jesus, to see God. That will all be well worth it. So if anyone here this evening were to have any need to find that narrow road or to recommit if you've strayed or anything of that nature, or if there's anything that we could help you with, please come forward as we stand and sing.